Welcome back to Rock Your Best Vocals. Jim here, professional singer for over 30 years, professional vocal coach for over 20 years. I need to redo a lot of my old Sings Like videos. I found new and better and lighter and easier ways to sing, really by listening to the tonal qualities of great voices. The benefit of doing these Sings Like videos for you and for me is because when we try to sing like someone else, we think about what's happening with our voice and we hear the differences between our voice and their voice, and we go, okay, well, what are they doing differently? And then we can try and manipulate our voice. And so the joy of that is just the learning more about your voice. So really, that's the whole goal of all of these, really. I'm not going to sound exactly like him, but I know now what I was doing incorrectly before. For me, tuning into this part of my voice helped me a lot. So anyway, let's get into it. This is probably their most famous song. It's called Tomorrow.
It's 12 o'clock and it's a wonderful day. I know you hate me, but I'll ask anyway.
Okay, so what I was totally missing before is this flow of the breath. I used to be really protective about my voice, about trying to hold back air. Now, that's not a bad thing in itself, but when you're holding back air and you're putting pressure below your vocal folds, it probably been something like, I know you hate me, but I'll not. That's the way I probably would have done it before, trying to pressurize the sound so it doesn't come out, because I would have been afraid of, blowing too much air. But if you have a good vocal fold closure, you're not going to blow too much air. There's another thing that has to happen I'll get into, but in order to stop like a ton of air from blowing through your vocal folds. But just in this one particular line. It's a wonderful day. Right here.
I know you hate me, but I'll ask anyway.
So listen to the hate part. Listen to this breath that's guiding the voice. Ah, listen for this sound. Ah, ah.
I know you hate me, but I'll ask anyway.
So he's, I know you hate me, but I'll ask anyway. Ah, that's the really lightest part of the vocal folds coming together. When you let that flow happen, it sounds a lot more resonant and brighter. And the thing is, when I'm going to get into the other part about the controlling it so it doesn't, blow too much air. But let's move on.
Won't you come with me to a place in a little town? The only way to get there is to go straight down.
You can hear that is to go straight down. I'm really trying to keep open here so the air goes up through the vocal folds and they're buzzy, right? So if I wasn't doing that, but I would say the only way to get there is to go straight down. So you can hear how that's kind of clenched up. The air isn't really flowing through. The only way to get there is to go straight down. There's a couple other things happening. There's that compression going on, and the other thing that I'll get into, because that's more important when he starts to do a little bit more of the distortion. This other part is more important. But let's move on.
There's no bathroom and there is no sink. The water out of the tap is very hard to drink.
That airflow, if you're stopping it, hard to drink. I can still get easier. I can still get some of that hard to drink, but it's not as bright and buzzy. It's harder to sing that way. It's not the high note particularly, but I'm still forcing a lot of, it's a lot of strain to sing like that.
Tap is very hard to drink.
It almost sounds nasally. He does have nasal resonance, but it's because he's also open in the back. When you're open in the back, hard to drink. That's where hard to drink. That's coming from there. I'm not forcing the sound up here. Once I start forcing hard to drink, It's almost like I'm trying to shout through my nose when I'm doing that. So when you hear that nasally, frontal placement, all this stuff, it comes from this flow in the back, this space here. I do drink, I do. And you can hear that in a lot of the phrases. The vocal folds are just kind of touching, just barely touching together. The lightest edge of the vocal folds. And that's what I was talking about earlier, that I do drink. So I'm kind of like allowing that flow of air to come up in, kind of a little bit of nasal flow air from being open in the back, wide open throat, and then allowing that air to start just go through the vocal folds to buzz. And then when you get in that position, it's a lot easier to get that distortion without clamping down and forcing. That's the forcing is the problem. It's just so much effort.
Very hard to drink.
You can hear that. Very hard to drink. You hear that? Very hard to drink.
You wait till tomorrow.
Wow, so he's like doubling the U, and then one of them shifts down, and then the other shifts up. That's really cool. But you can hear that, wait till tomorrow. On that, wait till tomorrow.
You say that money isn't everything, but I'd like to see you live without it.
So you can hear that breath there. But I'd like to see you live without it. That kind of helps me to kind of try to get that same tone, because his tone is just very bright. Such an amazing tone of his voice. If you kind of move into it from that place, from the lighter place, you think you can keep on going, living like a king. You think, if you start down like in this kind of clenched up, you think you can keep on going, living like a king. You can kind of get through it, but it doesn't sound as bright. It sounds closed off. I mean, doesn't it? It sounds like muffled. It sounds like I'm singing to a pillow or something. If you don't have the vocal folds buzzing, it doesn't sound as good.
Ooh, babe, but I strongly doubt it.
Ooh, babe. At the beginning of his voice, just that brightness. Ooh, babe, but I strongly doubt it. The other thing I'm doing there, which I'm going to get into on the just in a second, but the other thing I'm doing is very important. It's crucial to this. It's
very hard to drink.
Start with that flow of air, and then lift into it, almost like you're puking, right? So I talk about these puke muscles, because you want this upward kind of momentum, like you're puking. Very hard to drink. Very hard to drink. Hard to drink. It allows the air to flow a little bit better, rather than kind of thinking like bearing down and very hard to drink. That's so much pressure. So much harder to sing like that when you're forcing and pushing. This way, very hard to drink. That's a little bit easier if you're start off with that breath. As long as you can let yourself crack a little bit. Think of the air flowing out like this. Anyway, let's move on.
Very hard to drink.
Ooh, oh my God, it's like blood-curdling scream. Let's go back to that part.
Very hard to drink.
So he's like, kind of up in here. Is it very hard to drink? If you allow this posture, this kind of, I'm not worried about cracking really. Think of that. Very hard to drink. Start from this kind of position here. Very hard to drink. You can start light, right? Someone once said, the way you finish a line is the way you start the line. So if I start from this, very hard to drink, it's not letting any airflow up through the kind of nasal passage to get that kind of, very hard to, kind of It's almost like he's like kind of cracking like. Anyway, that one there, like that's a real key part of like a lot of how he sang in the earlier days, which is like, you know, if you can learn that and master it, it's just a wonderful thing to have in your toolkit, like to have that kind of ability to do that distortion. Anyway, let's move on.
You're gonna wait till fat boy, wait till tomorrow.
That sounds so cool, that part. But you can hear that bright distortion.
You're gonna wait till...
It starts off with this laying. You're gonna wait till... That's the basis of it, right? That bright... And then you have to lift into, like, puke your way through it, right? And then let's listen to the rest of it.
Fat boy!
Fat boy! Fat boy! Ah! Listen to that. What's the basis of that constriction. Fat boy! Fat boy! That's in there, that Oh, he said, you can hear that. Oh, he's not afraid to push a little bit of air through to break the vocal folds apart just a little bit and then bring them back together. Just to kind of feeling that brightness. Kind of, that's a good way to feel that good vocal fold closure. And I've done a video on that. Like, just go and watch the video on vocal fold closure because it's very key and you can hear how he's doing that.
You're gonna wait till fat boy!
That's it, nasally. You're gonna wait till fat boy! That's all the start of it. You're gonna wait till fat boy! So, if you go like this, really open in the back, that's where that kind of comes from, but you need some force behind that to really get them rattling like he does.
Fat boy, wait till tomorrow.
Okay, so that's pretty much everything for Daniel John's voice, especially on this track particularly. I wanted to redo that because I think I got a lot of the stuff wrong before. Hopefully this is more helpful. And I mean, he just has such a great voice. I mean, I think he was only 15 at the time of recording this as well. So just amazing. Like, I love this whole album is great. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. And if you want to work with me closer on your voice, you can join me on Patreon or become a channel member. Or also there's a link below to work with me one-on-one directly. Thanks for watching Rock Your Best Vocals, where your best keeps getting better. See ya.